Welcome to day 4 of AirVenture at Whitman Regional Airport in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I'm your host, Holland Lee. Coming up on today's program, we recap the FAA's presence at EAA, find out what's new from King Schools, and also get updates from Avilution and Gogo. These stories and more coming up on this AirVenture 2024 special edition of Airborne Unlimited. First up, let's hear what ANN's Jim Campbell has to say about the FAA's annual Meet the Administrator event.
With breathless anticipation, we awaited the Meet the Administrator Forum today. Under normal circumstances, it was supposed to take place from 11:30 to 12:45. The administrator should have been there. Jack Pelton should have been there. There should have been a lot of questions and probably a fair amount of answers. And guess what? Nada. What happened was from 11:30 to 12:45, there was no administrator. There was a deputy administrator. Obviously disappointed. I assume Jack wasn't there for that reason either. So the EAA asked questions of the FAA for the entire period from 11:30 to 12:45. And when questions were finally allowed, it was only a few, and guess what? Not a lot of answers. Now in the MOSAIC situation, they have a lot to say about it, but it's most of what we've heard before. The problem is, now they're talking about MOSAIC for Oshkosh25, May at the earliest.
Well, first, let me say again, it's really a privilege to be here for my second year at Oshkosh and my second year having the opportunity to address the group in this forum. The FAA Administrator Whitaker had been hoping to be here, but had some unexpected issues arise and needs to be home to take care of those. So it is a privilege and an honor for me to be with our leadership and talk to you about some of the issues that we know you're most concerned about. Last year when we were here, the Acting Administrator Trottenberg, had the pleasure of announcing our proposed rule on modernization of Special Airworthiness Certification Rule, or what we all know as MOSAIC. That will significantly enhance the 2004 Sport Pilot Light Sport Aircraft Rule and expand the scope of light sport aircraft certification and operations, including electric propulsion. And what that is going to do is provide more flexibility while ensuring a safe level of safety across the system. We received more than 3,500 comments on the proposal. The response was overwhelmingly positive, both here at Oshkosh and through the comments we received. And we're currently working through those comments to put together the final rule that we hope and expect to release by May of 2025. So we will have a lot to talk about next year as well.
The proposal is to expand the weight limit of light sport aircraft. We do believe that looking at light sport, we hope it'll expand training opportunities. It'll make it available to more folks. Maybe reduce the barrier to entry to be a pilot, as we all know that there's certainly cost as a barrier to entry, and maintain the same level of safety. I think we've proven with light sport that those light sport aircraft can be operated safely. So hopefully what we will also see with that is some of these envelope protection technologies be built into this expanded light sport. We had 3,000 comments, most of them very, very positive. We're going through those 3,000. I can kind of give you an update where we are too at the same time. Ultimately we'll work through those and get the final rule moving. And I would hope to by the time we're here next year that we're either on short final there or already landed that rule. So.
And on another important topic, medical issues, the logjam, it's been a continual problem throughout decades. You can't blame this particular administration for that. They're claiming that they're working on the logjam, but so far, lots of talk, not a lot of solution. We'll see what the future brings.
One of our sort of fundamental philosophies at the FAA is we want everybody who wants to be able to fly to do so and do it safely. So David, in talking about some of our safety rules, was talking about enabling, and we are very, very focused on enabling people and things to add value to the aviation system. So our mindset has been to think critically, what are our legal authorities that allow us to be more flexible? What are the tools available to allow us to be more flexible while being able to maintain the high level of safety that we've come to expect in the sector. And I give a ton of credit to David Bolter in AVS and Dr. Susan Northrup, who's sitting here in the front row and can add more detail to this. But medical is one of those areas that we have invested a lot of time and focus on, and will continue to do so in the coming years to find a way to get to yes wherever possible.
We know medicals have taken too long, and Susan's doing lots of things in that space. We're putting a lot of resources in that. We're hoping to, I think we got 10 docs in the pipeline, because we really want to get to responsiveness. If you're out flying and then you have a medical issue, you can no longer hold that medical certificate. We want to be responsive. Some medical things take a little time to see what it's going to take, but for the most part, we want to make sure you know where it is in the process. We're being responsive. We know we're not all the way there, and Susan's working on it every single day, but we absolutely want to start from how can we get this person back in the air. So Susan, please.
In the face of unprecedented numbers of applications, it's absolutely astounding. So last calendar year, just some gee whiz numbers, we had 449,966 applications for airman medicals. That is 34 short of 450,000. That's amazing, and it's due to a lot of you all in the audience, because we're getting young people really, really interested. The vast majority of that growth, because historically it was 385,000, so that's a lot, is young people below the age of 30 getting first-class medicals. Simply astounding. So it's a numbers bit. The number of individuals that need a special issuance has gone from 10% to 12%. We've made efforts in our IT system. So 2 years ago, we rolled out, where is my medical? If you can see where your pizza is when you order it from Domino's, you ought to be able to see where your medical is, right? Okay, a year after that, we rolled out direct upload of medical documents. If you need to send documents to the FAA, you can take those to your AME, and that individual can upload those records into our system. That cuts the number of touches per disposition from between 7 and 9 to between 3 and 4.
And after these messages, let's see what's new with King Schools.
First and foremost, I'm a pilot. Love flying. Also, I'm the chairman and CEO of Baker's Burgers, a fast food restaurant business based in Southern California. I've used Gogo for a number of years. Probably the last 4 or 5 years I had a Gogo system in my aircraft. And Gogo represents the unique kind of trifecta of reputation, service quality, and price point. It just makes sense for me.
Flying is my entire life. It's all that I've ever known. I've relied on Hartzell propellers since about 1995. Hartzell means much more than a propeller. It's a relationship. When you hear the phrase built on honor, they care about us as pilots, they care about our community, and they care about the product they build. It's such a proud honor to fly behind that propeller.
Looking for a new generation of proven and efficient aviation power plants that boast modern engineering, electronic ignition, and both direct and gear drive systems? With 100 horsepower to 240 horsepower, the Skyline and Redline engines offer uncommon value in an overpriced industry. Whether you are looking for fixed wing or rotor, MW-Fly Americas has been established to service the American market with dedication and expertise. MWFlyAmericas.com.
Welcome back to Oshkosh. If you've seen something especially cool around the AirVenture grounds today, be sure to use hashtag Osh24cool. We would love to check it out. Now let's see what's new with King Schools. John and Martha King's efforts have been ongoing for 50 years, and now, along with Barry Knudla, they continue to expand the scope of King School's offerings while still remembering the grassroots and sport flyers.
We're actually announcing 3 new free courses today, and the first one of those is the Private Pilot Ground Reference Maneuvers course. And this is a course that's taken from our full Private Pilot Maneuvers course, and what we did is we took out one portion of those flying maneuvers, but it happens to be a portion that many pilots have trouble learning. Okay, so the next one is a YouTube playlist. We've got 5 episodes in the YouTube video series, and the YouTube video series is aptly named How to Become a Pilot. The next course we're announcing, which is also a free course, is the Drone Part 107 Regulations course. Hopefully folks will come away from that really with a good understanding of the regulations that govern drone flying. So a big step forward for us was to take the course that we've had for many years, and it was time to go through it and do a revamp. We got a lot of feedback from folks that had taken other King Schools courses and were asking for more video. What we did is we added about 130 videos to the course. We also did a page-by-page review. We went through every single page in the course. The new course is even more clear, concise, easy to understand, and entertaining, I think, with the videos that are available. We've provided hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of scholarships over the last year since our 2 primary scholarships have been in place.
Our major scholarship program started with Women in Aviation International, and what we came up with is the Martha King Scholarship for Female Flight Instructors, which we've been giving through WAI for this upcoming will be 10 years. This is John and I at WAI this year, 2024, with Jamie Clays, who is the WAI scholarship winner, and our NAFI scholarship winner this year, which we announced at Sun and Fun, is Eric Hagas.
So the application period for both of those scholarships is open right now, and you can simply go to kingschools.com/scholarships to find out how to apply, and we hope that there'll be many applications.
Avilution has yet another approach to avionics. The folks at Avilution have been disrupting the avionics field for years in a really good way. Now they're reaching out to the GA community to make their next leaps forward in avionics design.
We've got this stuff that's very highly reconfigurable. We say, think of it as like Excel for avionics. You know, you use Excel to solve lots of different problems. We're able to solve lots of different avionics problems for a lot of different people, all with the same software. This is a little area where we're showing some really kind of out-of-the-box elements of the way this approach to avionics can work. Here, you're seeing the same software that's powering the unpaneled, same software that's powering the 10.4-inch screens. Here, driving an ultra-wide screen. So if you were in something like a Sonics or maybe something else with a small cockpit, this shows you a really different way to be able to lay out your instrumentation. This is more focused on round dials, but you can also do a glass version. We're also showing kind of a touch interface over here. But among all this, one of the cool features we have is we have this really high resolution bathymetry data, and we can use the information about the aircraft that we already have, like its position and its speed and its height above the ground, to be able to provide an alert, in this case specifically for amphibious pilots, to ensure that their gear is up when they're landing on water and their gear is down when they're landing on land. But as opposed to a lot of other systems that do this as kind of a nuisance, like that you hear every time, this only will produce the audio output in the event that your gear is in the wrong position for what you're about to touch down on in terms of a surface.
Raise your gear if you're landing on water. Raise your gear if you're landing on water.
Patrick, what do you bring in Oshkosh this year? Tell me what's the latest and greatest from Skytron.
Sure. So our latest and greatest are our unpanels. So it's been a very popular product with the Zenith owners and builders. We've had that out a couple of years now. This year we have a new format, a little bit taller screen. This is an 18-inch screen, about 3 times brighter than our previous.
Sharp, too.
Very sharp. This is a 1920 by 1080 resolution. Very large screen with all of your VFR information displayed on the panel. So you're not having to look through a lot of menus to get everything that you need on one screen.
It's really easy for us to configure these designs and the layouts, and sometimes there's different features or different instrumentation that people want on their panel that they don't have with Garmin or whoever it may be. So we want to bring those ideas here. You can come to the tent and just pass those ideas off to us. You can even go online and do it there, and really can show what we can do in a really short time span and how we can shape the avionics to your needs.
Gogo Business Aviation keeps pumping out the data. One of the reasons that people use airplanes is to get things done. But while airborne, the need to communicate does not diminish a single bit.
One of the things that our company's been doing the last few years is really investing in future technologies for meeting the demands of the pilots and the passengers in the aircraft. We've been working on a new satellite product. We have been evolving our networks for air to ground, so just offering a full suite of connectivity solutions from everything from general aviation aircraft all the way up to the VVIP category.
Your satellite product is interesting and should be looked at very carefully, because keep in mind this product is not an adaptation of something being utilized elsewhere.
Our satellite product is Galileo is the brand of that, and we have two different versions of our antenna, which is working on the low Earth orbit network, OneWeb, which is our partner on that, and then the antenna partner is Hughes. We'll be test flying that very shortly and bringing it to market at the end of 2024.
So what else can we look forward to from Gogo coming up through 2025?
Well, it would be really the evolution of our connectivity solutions to global and having global connectivity with Galileo, whether that be our HDX antenna or the FDX antenna, which is really designed for the larger airframes. But it's putting together a connectivity solution that can essentially do anything you want to do in the airplane. Connectivity is something we all have to have on the ground. As I'm standing here talking to you, my phone's ringing and my watch is going off. It's ingrained in our lifestyle, and it's no different than being in an aircraft and wanting connectivity.
After these messages, part 4 of our annual interview with Jack Pelton.
The legendary BD4C program is building an exciting future for those who want a rugged 4-seat family flyer with a proven history. The SureWings program produces a complete kit and builder assist program that gives you everything you need to be flying a BD4CS in record time. For conventional kit builders, BD Aviation has parts, partial kits, and full kits for the 190-mile-per-hour BD4C that has logged thousands of hours. Visit SureWings.com and BDAviation.com for more details.
Welcome back. Now let's hear from Jack Pelton on the state of several aviation segments.
Let's talk about the different segments of sport aviation that have become part of the EAA hierarchy. How are warbirds doing? How are classics doing? How's the IAC folks and light and ultralight and all that? How are they all fitting in these days, and how are they growing underneath the EAA umbrella?
If we look at each of the divisions, Warbirds has always been strong, and it continues to be strong. I think Father Time is going to catch up with us on the planes and parts themselves. I mean, it's a very, very expensive endeavor to keep a Warbird going and having enough support to do that. But this year, again, this is like the third year in a row where we've had the registered number of Warbirds that are showing up to be right around 400, which has been the same for every year. So that's encouraging. I think you're seeing more of a migration towards things like T-34s and some of the trainer aircraft that are far more out there on the registry, which is good. It gets people involved. So they're doing very, very well. Their membership numbers are good. Vintage has had a kind of a resurgence in the last couple of years. They've gotten...
And the airplanes get more beautiful year after year.
They do.
Oh,
it's still
man.
one of my favorite areas is to go down and look at some of these restorations that have been done. So that's really encouraging. And I think, again, that's going to be, with the MOSAIC initiative, there's going to be another resurgence of taking some of the older vintage airplanes that certainly fit within in the category of being flown as a light sport. And the values are going to go up, and people are going to start restoring more of them. I think that's very, very encouraging. Home building continues to be strong. There is so much concern with vans being the leader of the number of airplanes being registered on an annual basis, but they're coming along out of the bankruptcy in good shape. Probably a little more of a reality check on what the price point needed to be. They've got it back to where they can at least make money. But then you have new entrants like Sling and other people that are coming into the market. That's very encouraging. We still see growth on an annual basis on the FAA registry of home-built numbers, so I think that's in good shape. IC is tough. IC is tough because it's so much of it is just the competitive aerobatics, which takes a lot of time, commitment, and as you know, the aircraft now are so sophisticated and very expensive. They're so focused on the competition side, and if you really are serious about it, it's very technical and very hard. It's not a weekend kind of hobby that you can go understand exactly the routines you have to fly and practice those. When Paul started IAC, now this is what he told me years ago. He said, my whole vision was it was about pilot skills, stick and rudder skills, and that it was really about proficiency. And he said, I wanted people to understand how to do spins and how to do rolls and loops and work on becoming better pilots, not the competitive side of it. And I think that's where it's gotten lost, is it has skewed way over to purely being competitive, and we got to find a way to get it back to what the original vision was by Paul.
What's happened to EA's involvement with ultralight and the very, very, very basic type of flying? I still think there's a real future for really, really basic flying machines.
There is, and I think as we address it, we have an actual ultralight committee that's a kind of a subdivision of EA. And there was a time, and I'm trying to remember what the date stamp on it was, where the training for it, where everywhere you went on weekends, and I was a California kid, you had somebody that had a sign up in a field somewhere where you could go for a ride and you could go get training, and it was all dual. And when they started changing the weights and they started changing the requirements that required a LOTA to actually do training, it just killed it. Because at that time, the recreational pilot certificate was coming along, and they thought, well, that'll be a better step, and it'll also bring in the ultralights. Well, it didn't. It actually cut them off. And so it went through a very, very long period of nobody building them anymore, nobody being able to get trained in them, nobody having access or promoting them, and we're inching back little by little in that. The fear is that's still one of the great unregulated areas in aviation. No N number, no license, no real requirements for anything, and we're always worried that somebody in the bureaucracy of either the FAA or the U.S. government is going to decide they want that to go away. So we're very careful as to how we promote and how we talk about it and where that goes. There's a current, I believe it's M3. There is a new ultralight that's out there that's getting a lot of backlog in sales. Quicksilver's still out there.
Aerolight down at the land?
Yeah, that's one
Beautiful
I'm thinking
machine.
of. We get a lot of pressure from how are we going to get the training requirement back, And so we're really working on that's going to be the important first step, because you know, and I talked down at Sun Fun this year. I was talking to some of our members who they had purchased an ultralight, but do you really want them off trying to learn to fly on their own? You know, with nobody with them in an airplane? I don't think so. So, you know, people are training in a dual version of it and then getting, you know, launched on their own to go do their, and we've got to find a better way in everybody's best interest from a safety standpoint to help facilitate that.
Tomorrow, our interview series with Jack Pelton concludes with discussions about both his future with the EAA as well as the future of the organization itself.
You know, we did the Youth Education Center for, you know, nothing had been done here since the 80s, and it was a big investment, big involvement, and it has been a home run. I mean, we are so active with far more kids. We had over 6,000 kids on hands-on training this last year in the facility. Our Proficiency Center had over 3,000 people in it. It's being used for all the right purposes, so it was a good investment.
And that about does it for Day 4 of AirVenture 2024. We'll see you back here tomorrow.